I love chocolate chip cookies. Even more so, I love a brown butter chocolate chip cookie. I think that one ingredient really changes the game. In this video, you're gonna see me put together one of my favorite cookies in the world using one of the easiest recipes in the world. And you should stay tuned so that you can make them too. All right, so for these particular cookies, you're gonna need just a few ingredients, and you probably already have them in your pantry. You need 14 ounces of butter. We are going to brown 10 ounces of the butter, and then the remaining butter can be room temperature or it can be cold. We're gonna chuck it right into the warm pot. We also need half a cup of granulated sugar, and you need 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. You need 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. That's very important. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract and a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, a cup and 3/4 of AP flour, and then whatever you want to add into your cookie. So for this particular batch, I am using semi-sweet chocolate. I've used half the bar. I've chopped it up. I love a good baking bar, by the way. I stopped getting chocolate chips a while ago, and I prefer to use these. I think that they have a better quality. And if you're looking for those puddles of chocolate that you see in bakeries, you want to use a baking bar. You will not get a puddle if you use the chocolate chips, because those are meant to withstand very high temperatures and still keep their shape. So go for one of these. I am also using a unsweetened chocolate bar or some good old dark chocolate. This is 100%, so I'm really only using half of the bar for that chocolate. And then I really wanted to add some pecans in because my mother loves pecans in these chocolate chip cookies, and that's who these cookies are for. You can also add a little bit of cinnamon. That will change the taste of your chocolate chip cookie, but it will be delicious. So that's all you need, and let's get started. I'm adding my butter into the pan. I have 8 ounces here, and I'm gonna add 2 more in just a second. My pan is on medium-high heat, and I'm gonna let that sit in the pan until I have both sticks, and then I'll swirl it around. I'll keep doing that the entire time. You're gonna see in the middle of your pot how it starts to bloom into this beautiful amber color. Let it do that a few times until you get a deep amber color. You'll see the milk solids on the bottom of the pan, and you'll know it's ready. Now you want to take your brown butter off of the heat, otherwise it will keep cooking. So brown butter has a sweet spot. Once you get that amber brown color, it bursts through, the bubbles at the top. You want to pull it off then. And if you take it too far, it can taste burnt or it can taste bitter. Similar to caramel, if you cook it for too long, it might have the right texture, but still not give you the flavor that you want. So make sure you're watching your butter as you're browning it. And as soon as you pull it off the heat, go ahead and add in the rest of your butter. And you want to give this a stir. It'll fizz up similar to, you can bring it down. It will fizzle up similar to how you make caramel again. Once you add in your heavy cream, you add in your butter. This is happening because that cold butter is absorbing the heat that's in your pan. So this is just a natural chemical reaction. And that's science. We're gonna give this a stir, let that butter melt, and now it's time to add in the other ingredients. I'm gonna use this as a coaster. The counters don't get all dirty. You can keep everything in the same pot. I like to start by adding the sugars in. And I'm also going to add in the salt at this stage. That is not salt. This is salt. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in too. And I know I didn't measure, but I just go until the ancestors tell me to stop. This stuff is really good anyway. You can't have too much. I'm gonna hold off on adding the eggs because this butter is still really, really hot. And if you add in the eggs now, you risk them scrambling or curdling right in your mixture, and that's really hard to scrape out. So as these are coming together, get a nice slurry of sugar and salt and vanilla. It smells really good too. Now I let that stir and then I let it sit for maybe 30 seconds. My goal in doing this is just to cool it down, okay? I don't want to add the eggs into something super hot, so stir it, let it sit, stir it, let it sit. Now that I've let this cool for a little bit, I'm gonna add in the eggs. Can you get a close-up? Now again, stir and let it sit. You can let this sit for like a full minute and then come back, stir it for 30 to 40 seconds, and then come back and do it all over again. Look at how beautiful that looks. Oh my goodness. Wow. And the smell is just amazing. Now, this is ready for the next step. I have my flour in this bowl, and that's the beautiful thing about this recipe. You don't need a hand mixer. You can put this whole thing together with just a couple of bowls and by your hand. I have some baking powder here, not baking powder, baking soda. Put that in there. I'm gonna give this a stir. We are going to add our slurry right in. Man, oh man, oh chef. If you haven't already, preheat your oven to 375 fan. Let's go ahead and give this a stir. Look at how easy it is to pull it all together. You'll know when you're done stirring this once it gets a little bit tougher to move around, but for the most part, it should remain fairly soft. You also don't have to chill this recipe, so you can take it straight from this and put it into the oven. You don't need to chill it, you don't need to let it rest. I'm telling you, this is the only recipe you will need from this point on for your chocolate chip cookies. All right. Now, we're gonna add in our fixings. I have my baking sheet ready to go. I like to use a silicone mat to bake these, but I've also baked them on parchment paper, and I've baked them on a really good quality baking pan that doesn't require any of that. This is a decent pan, but I really just like how the silicone mat allows me to get the same size cookies every single time. Very consistent results. It's my favorite thing to use. And I will drop a link for this particular silicone mat in the description box. I'm using Big Mama today. I like big cookies. I don't have time to play around with small ones. And since I'm using such a big scoop, I want to make sure these are spaced apart pretty far. They're going to spread 2 to 3 inches, and they're going to need a lot of room. If you want to use a smaller scoop because you want smaller cookies, here's the one that I use. This is a traditional cookie scoop. For this recipe, you would get about 30 cookies, and for the big scoop, you'll only get a dozen. Let's put it in. These will be in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes, but watch them. And now we wait. They're ready. Oh my goodness, look at those. These are fresh out of the oven. I gave them a second to cool down because I was not gonna burn my hands for this video. But look at how beautiful these are. Ooh, the chocolate. Oh my goodness. Gosh, that is just, they smell wonderful. I let these bake for about 10 minutes. I made sure that the inside was soft set when I pulled it out, but the outside had nice crunchy edges. Oh, I'm not breaking it right. I mean, just the smell alone is everything. That's a cookie. And that is the only cookie you will need. These are rich. You can tell that there's a different quality of flavor in here. The brown butter sets it up a notch, but the technique with making these cookies is definitely different from your traditional chocolate chip cookie, and it shows. The recipe will be in the description box. And if you like this kind of content, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Love you lots like Jelly Tots. See you soon. Bye.